Hello, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Peculiar Endeavors podcast. I am your host, Amelie. In today's episode, I would like to talk about some food items and maybe give you some tips on how to get a better quality food, maybe. And there might be things that you didn't think about. And I find this helped me a lot because I've been very picky with my food, and I have always been picky with my food. And something I found specifically when I was vegetarian, I found that I always looked for things that were organic. And to be honest, it's a lot of bullshit. The organic items are many times no better than the other ones. So there's just so many pitfalls when you go to the supermarket. And I'm also one of those crazy people. I always read the ingredients on the packaging. So I prefer go shopping by myself because it does take a while. I don't really go shopping much anymore. I don't really use supermarkets or grocery stores very often. I use it for like basic things. But I thought I kind of like tell you about like just staples that I have and what I did to change it. One of the most basic things that everybody is using is water. And we all know drinking tap water, specifically if you live in big cities, is not a good idea. I've been living in London for a long time and I always hated the tap water. Also coming from Sweden where they had really good water. Yeah, London water is sewage. And, you go to restaurants sometimes and ask you, would you like some tap water? And they bring you a glass that just smells of chemicals. Is absolutely vile. But hey ho. In the beginning, I just thought, just filtering the water would be like enough. So just like everyone else, I had like a Brita filter thing, a filter that you have to change every single month. And I just didn't really think that it did that much. It maybe filtered the water for like the first 2 weeks. It did taste better, but it wasn't great. So I used to buy water in bottles, which was really annoying because I had to carry it home. And also it got expensive, and the water in bottles is still not the greatest. You have, there's bacteria and things in there, so it's not the best, but I do think it's better than tap water for sure. So what I decided to do was just take the plunge and buy one of those gravity filters. You can find a lot of different brands if you just Google it online. And the actual containers, it doesn't really matter what brand you buy. It is the actual filters that do matter. And I do have found this company, a UK company, that do really nice filters. And they filter most of the bacteria out and also fluoride. I do find it a little bit difficult to find a filter that filters out fluorides. It seems like many brands filter out other things, but then you have to buy like a specific filter to filter out fluorides. And as you can hear, I'm not a big fan of fluorides at all. So that was something very very important for me to actually find something that filters out fluorides and all the other chemicals. So I've been using a gravity filter, and yeah, they are quite expensive. So once you buy one, you don't have to change the actual filter. You just change it once a year. And when you live in a bigger city, I found like changing it a little bit more often in London was better. You could definitely taste the difference in the water, but it just made everything much easier and cheaper and better. And yeah, so the actual initial buy might be quite expensive, but in the long run, it's so much better and it's very handy. And you just have to make sure that you always have the water there and you're sorted. So definitely recommend to look those things up. Speaking of fluorides, I am also that person that uses toothpaste with no fluoride. And I have been doing this for a very, very long time. I really don't remember when I started using a fluoride-free toothpaste, but it has definitely been over 5 years, probably longer. I just really don't remember when I switched. I always found that normal toothpaste, they make my mouth feel really dry. I know it sounds a bit gross, but I really didn't like it. I'm not really sure how I came about. I think I just looked into toothpaste and then just experimented with different brands. Toothpaste with charcoal and this kind of stuff. And yeah, I've much preferred toothpaste with no fluoride. And to be very honest, I really don't think that fluoride does anything for your teeth. There hasn't been any difference. So I would definitely look up some toothpastes. Now, one of the toothpaste that I like the best was called David's toothpaste or something like that, but it's not really about the brands. I think it's more about the ingredients. And this one had, let's see if I can pronounce this, ninohydroapatate in it. And I think if you can find a toothpaste with that ingredients in there, you'll be good. But there's also like if you go to Holland and Barrett, you can find a lot of toothpastes there as well with no fluoride. And I think it's really up to you. It's an individual thing, so it's a trial and error. But yeah, do try fluoride-free toothpastes. I got my mom to use them as well, and she was very skeptical in the beginning. So she used to like brush her teeth with fluoride-free once a day and once a day with fluoride. But I think now she's completely converted. And yeah, you should try too. I thought I'll just move on to more foodie stuff, as I would like to just keep all the kind of cosmetics and beauty things for a different episode, as this is a big subject in itself. But I thought let's talk about dairy, for example. I know a lot of people don't have dairy products because of the lactose, and many people just use dairy. It's kind of like you put in your tea, coffee, you might cook with it, just like a basic product. But there's so many things with milk, and I think also this whole lactose intolerant thing, I'm just very sure that it's not lactose. And the problem with milk in shops is that the cows are not getting the feed that they should have. They're not grass-fed. Most of them eat grains. And obviously the milk will have, byproducts of whatever the cow eats. So also it's pasteurized, and I don't do very well with pasteurized milk. And I always had issues with milk anyway. Therefore, I thought I was lactose intolerant, so I try not to drink milk, and therefore I was drinking like all the substitutes, which was very silly in itself. Yeah, the reason why I think, as in soy milk, obviously because of the soy, is really not good for you. It disrupts your hormones, specifically estrogen. So do avoid that. And also, if you look at the packaging of like almond milk, oat milk, all these kind of substitutes, if you look at the ingredients, you'll see that there's very strange ingredients in there that shouldn't be in there. It's not just like an almond. Yeah, you also know that the way they grow, for example, the almonds, there's pesticides involved. The way they shell them as well. Look up that. That's very interesting. Most of the nuts that are shelled, they put them in very specific chemicals, and then they get peeled, and then they put them in another chemical to get rid of the other chemical. It's mad. And basically that gets they grind that down and put some water, and many of them have some kind of seed oil in there as well, and some salt and some other things depending on what brand it is. Look at the ingredients. It's very interesting, specifically coconut milk, or like coconut and rice milk. I've been like, when I go to a coffee shop to get coffee, sometimes that was my kind of my treat, was to have like a coconut latte, because I didn't want to have milk in my coffee because of the lactose. So I thought I'll treat myself, and I started asking the baristas to like, oh, could I please see the ingredients and the milk, in the substitute milks that you have. And I did that. I've been to, all the normal ones, the Costas and the Cafeneros and all that. Costa has their own milk. Therefore, I thought it was interesting to specifically read them. And there's so many ingredients. And when I read them, I understood why I really wanted to have coconut milk in my coffee. Is not because it was a milky taste or anything. It's because there was like agave syrup and like just syrups. It was just so much sugar in there. So basically the coffee was it was like a syrup. It was just so sweet, and it was very appealing, obviously. So it wasn't even because it was a latte with milk. It was just because that milk was already sweetened. So it did taste very good. And it does taste very nice. I can't say it doesn't. But the ingredients in there, oh, no. I can't do that to myself anymore. It's really scary. So if you are in the UK, I know UK, I'm not really sure how it is in other countries, but in the UK anyway, if you drink milk, there's many places where you can order milk online, and you can get raw milk, really fresh raw milk. And you can also get cream and butter and dairy products in general. And I think it's worth a try. I'm not a big milk drinker, but I do like my butter. And even if you use butter as a spread, or a lot of people normally buy spreads. If you look into the ingredients there as well, most of them are not real butters. It's just basically seed oils in there, and they feel and taste like butter, but it's not butter. And seed oils, I would avoid seed oils as much as possible. Obviously, it's very difficult to do it like fully, but if you can, I'd avoid it. So even if you go to the normal supermarket, you can just have a look and get like proper butter. And there are some good choices. But obviously, they're like a little bit harder. So a lot of people don't like them because if you put them in the fridge, they're quite difficult to spread. So with real butter, actually, it doesn't really have to be in the fridge. So what I would suggest to maybe like cut a slice of the butter if you know you're going to be using it, and put that small piece outside the fridge, and it will keep itself nice and spreadable, and just go on from there. I think that really helps, and it's good to eat butter as well. Even if fry things, and that's another thing. Frying in the seed oils also, it's a big no. It is so bad for your intestines, and it just keeps your stomach inflamed. This whole IBS thing as well. I think IBS is just so vague, but a lot of people like have that. I think one of this is one of the big issues is really seed oils. So when you're frying, do not fry in seed oils. Don't use seed oils for anything really. I definitely stick to like butter if that's what you want. Butter doesn't, butter does burn easily, so it might not be the best thing always. But if you want to have something that is more of a substitute, you could fry in coconut oil, but it does have a very distinct flavor. So it's not like I don't find it the best. I like to fry in tallow, or I fry with ghee. I really like, if you do scrambled eggs, to fry in ghee is really nice. And then tallow, so grass-fed tallow, it's very useful to have, and it doesn't burn at all. You can use it for a lot of different things, and it's actually very good for you. And it's just very natural, and your body will, not get inflamed after, this type of fat, because it's just really natural for your body. All right, I thought maybe we should move on to eggs now, because eggs is also like a staple. And I remember I used to buy like goose eggs in the shops before. And it's also one of those things, when you read on the packaging how, they keep the chickens, and, they're like not caged, and all these like different words they use to make it sound so good. And many times it's just also a lot of bullshit. If you can, do buy eggs from a farm, because many times you can buy eggs from farms nearby. But in the UK, we actually have this great online site that have, you basically order eggs online, and they just come to your door. And these eggs come from chickens that run around outdoors and eat whatever they like, the grass, or the little insects and things that they like to eat. And these eggs are good enough to eat raw, and it's very handy, and they're very good and very tasty. So I would definitely like look into eggs as well, because it's the same kind of thing. If the chickens are fed a lot of grains, obviously, that will come up in the eggs as well. So if you have issues with gluten, it might be a good idea to look into that. Yeah, I shall remember to put maybe some of the brands down below in the description box, just to kind of make it easier. But yeah, I think eggs is also like a big staple. Also meat. I think meat, that's a little bit might be a bit more difficult or might be easier. Most of the meats in the normal shops are, to me, still a little bit crazy. The meats that you see many times, they do come from cattle that probably had a lot of like antibiotics and things, and I'm very sure that they don't eat a good diet. I'm very sure that they don't have a lot of space to live their lives either. So I don't really like that. Even though I do eat meat now, I do not like buying meat from just a normal supermarket. And yeah, these are the reasons. Many times they also dye the meat so it looks better. And if you put like, let's say like grass-fed beef next to like a supermarket beef, let's say just mince, you can really see the difference in the color and the texture, and is pretty wild. And also it contains like so much like water as well. And to be honest, is not much cheaper either. And you can also tell when you buy steaks, you can really tell from the color of the fat. If the fat is very, very white, it's normally not good quality meat. So you want to have like a piece of steak that is more of a, you see the fat is a little bit like more yellow in the color. Now, obviously, I'm in the UK, so I can only speak for UK, but I do believe that US also have these things, and you can get basically meat delivered to your house as well. Right now, there are a lot of different farms and places, or you can get really good meat, and it's grass fed, and it's it's both beef and chicken meat and pork and yeah, different cuts and things. And I know that there's also like a site where you can get wild meat as well, like boar and pheasants and things. So it's really cool. And I feel like it's, yeah, maybe some of the things are a little bit more expensive, but my mom taught me to never cheap out on food, good food. So, yeah, I think you can really find good places that do have good food and good meat. And I think it should be a staple because you probably eat it every single day. And it's very important to, eat meat from animals that had a good life, have been roaming around, eating grass, and had a natural life. And yeah, I really, this is like a complete staple in my life. And I'm very happy that these farms exist, and that you're able just to get your meat basically delivered. So most of the things you just get it delivered. Yeah, like I said, I've been trying to stick to like a gluten-free diet as well, and it has really helped to buy dairy products from places grass-fed cows, specifically yogurt. So I do eat yogurt, and it's from milk where the cows are grass-fed, and it makes a big difference. And I love cream, and if I drink raw cream, I feel so much better. Yeah, it's very delicious. I'm not a big milk drinker, but I definitely am not lactose intolerant. But I haven't been drinking milk in big quantities. So, but I'm very sure it's been about gluten and maybe other ingredients in milks and not lactose. And the same goes for meat, as in chicken meat. So if you go to I don't know, like a fast food restaurant, and so obviously the chicken meat is not going to be the best quality, as in the chicken probably haven't had the best kind of diet, and many times it's going to be grains. And if the chicken eats grains, then the chicken itself is not going to be gluten free. Although it says it's gluten free, is not, because the saying of you are what you eat, right? So if you eat a lot of grains, you will have, that in your body, basically. So I've noticed that when I have chicken, that have been basically eating whatever they can find outdoors. I've been fine with this chicken as well, and it tastes much better, so much better. And also, I started drinking like chicken broth as well, and yeah, that's rather expensive, to be very honest. I tried to make some broth myself, but it's very time consuming, and it just didn't turn out very tasty. I'm working on it, but yeah, I do like drinking bone broth. It's very nice in the morning, and if you're into that, it's very healthy as well for your gut. Yeah, so these are kind of my staple things when it comes to food. Things that you can feel free to look into if you haven't. And yeah, it would be very interesting to know, like, if anybody else out there has any other suggestions. But yeah, I thought I'd just leave you with that. There's a lot of things that you can explore, Google, and look into. And I'm sure that these topics are going to come up again. So I'm going to leave you with that. Have a lovely day or lovely evening, and I speak to you very soon.